Greetings ladies and gents, welcome back to the Craft Hammer. I'm your host Stefan, and in today's video we are going back to look at the roster for the Death Korps of Krieg. For those of you who are curious, we do have the models that were released in the release box for Krieg themselves, and we did 4 videos for Lord Marshal Dreer, the Engineers, Death Riders, and the Artillery team. Along those lines, we are going back for the second wave that just got released, although I think by the time I manage to get these video out, it'll probably be a week already. Our main focus is similar as before. We're gonna get the models out on the sprue, double check, see what it's like, and then give you some little tips and tricks, and then we'll get the models built and show you what they look like so that you can decide whether or not these kits are for you. What I'm gonna do is make sure that I put all of these like box reviews in a playlist so that it'll be easier for you guys if you are interested in going through the entire range that we have so far, and if there is any future additions I'll put them in the same batch so that you can explore and view all the models. Now this isn't the first Death Korps of Krieg, the actual normal squad that I have. At Christmas time I did decide to buy the Kill Team version, which was just before the box was released, and I was very excited for it, so I really wanted to try and experiment and see what the actual squad is like. This is not the Kill Team version, for those of you who are wondering. That, I believe, is no longer available as a Kill Team box itself. It did come with a little envelope that had tokens for them, an extra sprue to show off some of the other variants that you could attach to this squad. We are gonna get this sprue out and then we'll go and build them. So give me 2 seconds and let me get the sprue out of this box. So here are the 2 sprues that you get. You no longer get the small little additional sprue that gives you a different medic variant, and I believe it gave you 1 or 2 other variants for one of these units to play them within Kill Team. You won't be getting that here. And before we get into some of the details, I do want to point out that we only have 10 heads for the Krieg helmets here. Of course, as we know, considering that they only wear their gas mask helmets, you don't get any variations, which we don't really need, you know, heads without helmets. That's fine. That's not really the theme that we're going with here, but you don't get anything additional that you might be able to use on other units. For example, if you want to get the field ordnance battery and you want to make them Krieg looking, you might not be able to change the bodies obviously, but the hope was that you would have gotten some spare heads within these kits so that at least those bodies could have Krieg helmets. But of course, these helmets do have, I guess, molding for specific body types that we have here, so do be aware that you won't be able to twist the heads that much, as these little pipes that are going down from the mask itself do have to mold on the specific armor bits. So just make sure that if you're looking to buy these kits because you wanted to also have heads that you are going to use on the field ordnance battery, that won't be the case unless you decide to buy one of these boxes, which is much cheaper than the old Kill Team boxes, and then use all the bodies here to swap out the ones from the field ordnance battery so that you can make them look like Krieg models. Overall though, you do have some wonderful little additions here, different ways to carry their weapons on the shoulders. Some of them are extended out. You do have one with a scope here, which I believe had a special rule for Kill Team itself. But you do get some nice little additions here. A variety of different backpacks if you want them to have the bayonets on them. You do get a few grenades here and there. A lot of equipment that isn't just your standard backpack that you can also attach to things. You do get bayonets for the actual guns themselves. Now those are very delicate, so you're gonna have to be very careful when you're trying to put them on your weapons. You do get some interesting little axes for them to use as melee weapons. You get some nice special weapons like plasma. You get a bolter, I believe, for one of them. And then on this one you get a little flamer here, a little grenade launcher. So nice little ways that you can make your squad look a bit different, especially when it comes to poses. The heads, as I said before, that's where they're going to be stuck to the specific bodies, but if you manage to swap some of the weapons out and make them look different, and then all of a sudden you have a really cool looking, you know, different unit because you managed to move some of the weapons around. Now what we're going to do is build these up and then we'll show you what we managed to complete. So I'll see you in a few minutes, folks. We have returned with the finished models. hopefully you're able to see from this distance. Doing my best because obviously these models are a tiny bit small, so hopefully you can see all the details on the screen. Now I did slightly change and experiment with these models in the sense that for the bases I decided to try out 3 popsicle sticks instead of 2, just to see how much space I could make for the trenches, and I do like it, although it does give a much smaller amount where I can put the sand paste, so that will be something that will be slightly less on these models in comparison to the other batch that I already did, which I will be showing you some comparisons, as there is quite a difference in the Kill Team kit and this updated version of the new Death Corps of Krieg, so we will be looking at those little differences there. Overall, the kit is quite nice and fairly straightforward to build. You do get obviously a few little variations. The only thing that I don't really like is that for the special weapons and for the Melta specifically with the plasma, the arm here, so this like one that is used to hold the actual trigger, there's only one of them that you get, which is slightly annoying. So even though there is 2 weapons that are part of the kit, you only get one arm, so you kind of are forced to choose. Maybe I could find a spare arm in among of the kits that I already have, but long term, obviously, you're going to start running out of these extra spare arms that you might have randomly picked up, or they might not really match the aesthetic if they're, say, from the Catechins or from the Cadians. So do be aware that unfortunately you are kind of limited when it comes to these special weapons. Otherwise though, you do get some slight variations when it comes to the poses that you can do. This one, for example, is just really the scope that is different. He can hold, I think, like a little watch or something instead of these binoculars. Some of these guys here that are running have a slightly different pose when it comes to what they're holding. For the Watchmaster, I believe he's called the Watchmaster, you can change his sword to a trench club or a chainsword, and then of course move around his pistol. And I do like this grenade launcher that they're using, the way that you're able to make it look like he's reloading, and you have a little belt on the side that you can attach to show where he actually took that extra ammunition. So I do like that little addition to the details for him. Difficulty wise, obviously it's pretty straightforward. The only difficult aspect here is if you need to glue this guy, since he only has 1 foot on the ground, and also this guy back here, since again he only has 1 foot on the ground. That's really the only difficult aspect of this kit. Otherwise it's fairly straightforward. What's even more interesting, let's bring in the previous Kill Team kit and show you all the different variations that you kind of no longer have because they removed that extra sprue which was part of that kit. Now I have a small speculation that similar to the Cadian upgrade sprue, there's likely going to be sometime in the future a Krieg upgrade sprue, so that you can have, let's say, a commander for a tank. There's probably going to be one attached to that sprue, and I suspect they're going to reuse that extra one that they had for the Kill Team, and then maybe they'll have like an extra 1 or 2 put into that box, so you'll get one already existing sprue and then you get 2 new ones, for example. So that's my little speculation on what they're going to do, but let me show you the variations. First and foremost, you do have an interesting looking medic where you can use the guy who is prone on the ground. In fact, I do believe it's this guy. You're able to see him getting a syringe with some sort of vial, and then he has like a little attachment to his arm with a little, I guess, knife slash chain knife type of thing. And of course it came with an extra bag just so that it looked like he was using that to carry out his procedures. So you do lose the arms that make up that, and of course that bag that is open. The old medic, or not the old medic, but the other medic that we get in this kit, he's just running with the bag. On a second one, the other prone person, he does come with, I think like it's a saboteur type of guy when he's laying mines. So he has a little pack that he's putting on the ground, and then he does have 2 mines on him. So that prone one with the sniper, he seems to have had a different variation which you can no longer get as part of the new set. So do be aware that if you were looking for that specific one, he's no longer available. Another variation is one of the running guys did have this power maul that they were able to get attached, just in case you're looking for one just to have his close combat melee weapon out. He doesn't seem to... I think you could probably still try and create this guy if you were to use the power maul from the Watchmaster, except I'm not sure if the other like las gun that he has, if that specific arm is still available on the normal sprue. So I didn't actually check that one out, but he might still be able to be created if you go looking for it, but on the actual instructions there isn't anything for him. Another cool guy that you can no longer get is this guy with his little book out. I believe he's like supposed to be the Zealot or something, if I'm correct from his name on the kill team. So he has a little book, and then just the way he's posed makes him look pretty decent. Unfortunately, can't get that little book anymore. It's no longer part of the kit. And then another interesting one, which is a bit strange that they didn't keep, is in fact this guy that has, this would have been a map. And then, so he has a little flare gun, a map, some flares on his little satchel there. And then he has an interesting bag which has an antenna on it. Slightly unusual, but he's definitely a cool model, which is such a pity because I don't really think you can create him anymore. The backpack that you do get for this guy, which I believe would probably be your like stand-in as a Vox individual, he unfortunately does not have these interesting bits where you can have a flare gun. And then the last guy, which you can no longer make from this new variation of the kit, is of course this veteran. Hopefully, let me see if I can. He has a metallic like robotic arm that he's holding his magazine, and then he does have 3 medals, if you can hopefully see that, on his chest. So he looks, you know, he's reloading his gun, and he's got an interesting little skull to show that he is a bit more of a veteran on his shoulder pad. So unfortunately, his one, I definitely remember his arm being on that extra sprue. You can't really build him anymore. So if you're looking to get the new Krieg kit, you were like, oh well, at least it's much cheaper. Do be aware that you do get a few less poses than the original kill team one. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and it's been useful to show you these different variations on the ones that we have. Do make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like this video, really helps us out. Drop your comments down below, tell me which one is your favorite. And stay tuned for the next Death Corps review, which should be the Command Squad, I believe. So until then, until next time, take care folks.